Three scary stories. One of them is a personal experience of mine. The other two are fictional. One of the fictional ones is the Christmas special. And at the end of the video, comment which story you think was my personal experience. So, let's begin. Number 1. This experience was short, but I found it terrifying. My grandma and my cousins came to our city for vacation in the summer. One day, my mom, dad, grandma, cousins, and I were going to a bus stop to go to a store to buy things that I can't remember. On our way to the stop, we saw a shady couple fighting near the bar that was near the bus stop. We carefully walked through them and got to the bus stop. Then, we heard some yelling and glass breaking. My dad told us to hide behind a wall. I looked from behind the wall, and I saw it. The couple was fighting, got physical. Then, my cousin, who was 5 at the time, ran to see what was going on. My dad got frantic and carried my cousin back. The fighting lasted for about 5 minutes, which is when a police officer separated them. We got out from hiding and saw a man with a scar. He was talking to someone on the phone, which I didn't hear. Suddenly, a pickup truck came and the guy jumped onto the back. I was relieved it was over. Shady couple, let's not meet again. Number 2. My mom and I were on vacation in California by the time this happened. We were going to her cousin's place. She lives in an apartment complex with a password that had to be entered to get into the main entrance. Anyways, her cousin gave us that password to the door and we walked in. There was no elevator, so we had to walk up the many flights of stairs. Half the way there, we passed a man wearing a black shirt smoking. We didn't pay much attention and just kept walking up. When we finally got up to her apartment, we rang the doorbell, and before she answered, we heard the sound of yelling and footsteps. We got scared and spammed the doorbell. Her cousin finally answered and we got in and we locked the door. We decided not to tell her about the yelling when we got in. We stayed for a while inside and talked about random crap until it was about time to leave. We were about to exit the door until we heard a loud knocking noise. We wondered why whoever was knocking wouldn't use the doorbell, so we looked through the eye hole. I was petrified. It was the man from earlier, and this time, he had a knife. He kept pounding on the door and began to yell in gibberish that we didn't understand. All of us were scared, so my mom's cousin phoned the police. The man kept pounding and yelling for what seemed like 10 minutes. When the cops came, they arrested him, and they looked through the man's apartment and found his apartment was full of drugs like marijuana and meth. That was the last time I saw him, and that was 3 years ago. Number 3. It was the night before Christmas, and I was 9 at the time. I still believed in Santa, and I wanted to stay up and see him, but I have strict parents, and I had to go to bed at 9 p.m. Before I went to bed, I put a plate of cookies in the living room, hoping that Santa might eat them. I went to bed and began to drift off. I slept until I suddenly woke up and I saw that it was 11:50 on the clock. I felt the urge to pee, so I walked to the bathroom down the hall and took a leak. After I was done, I walked down the hall to my bedroom. Before I got back into my room, I heard footsteps downstairs. I thought it was Santa. I was so excited, I almost screamed out loud. I tiptoed down the stairs and hid under the table in the living room. I looked and I saw. It was him. It was Santa. He was sitting on the sofa and I saw him eating some of the cookies I placed there. I was so thrilled I could scream. Then it all changed when I sneezed. Santa stood up and walked near the table I hid under and pushed it aside. He locked his eyes on me, and he was holding an axe. He swung his axe at me, but I rolled and dodged the axe. Santa chased me around until I found a closet and hid in it. I made sure to lock the door and kept quiet. I heard his footsteps walking around. I was petrified. I couldn't move. I heard his footsteps stop too. Then he began to try to tear down the door with his axe and said, "Get out here, you bastard!" The door was almost torn down. I thought I was going to die until suddenly I heard someone say, "Police, freeze!" Santa, or whoever he is, tried to fight them, but the police pinned him down. My parents were happy that I was alive, and it turned out they called the police after they heard bangs and booms downstairs. It turned out that the guy that looked like Santa was a rogue serial killer that always killed before Christmas. So he was nicknamed Santa Kills. Tonight was the last night he was attempting murder, as he is currently in a high security prison. Santa Kills will never kill again.